good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the members and the special guest of Society of Philippine Motoring Journalists, SPMJ. And welcome to our second SPMJ Forum, again at our regular venue, the Seda Hotel, Pertis. Before we proceed, before I introduce our guest for this forum, I'd like to request the chairman of SPMJ to welcome the members and the guests and our resource person.
Thank you, Arnel. I'm BUTCH GAMBOA, the founding chairman of SPMJ, and this is the SPMJ Forum. I'd like to welcome all our distinguished guests and resource persons who shall be properly introduced later on. I'd like to also welcome all the print, broadcast, and online journalists that are members of the SPMJ, or the Society of Philippine Motoring Journalists, and other of our peers who all write for the motoring beat. Now, what is the SPMJ Forum? It is actually the second major project of SPMJ, or the Society of Philippine Motoring Journalists, the first of which was the conduct of free seminars for teachers and students of high schools in the Philippines, centering on road safety. Now, the second and present major project of SPMJ is the SPMJ Forum. This is actually envisioned to provide a platform or a venue for the different parties of whatever issue or topic that has of significant value to the motoring public to air their sides, and to have the motoring journalists present to get deeper insights and more information about such topics so that they can pass this on to the general motoring public through their own publications or whatever medium they represent. So this is the SPMJ Forum, and I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Butch. And after Mr. BUTCH GAMBOA, I would like to call on the President of SPMJ, Ms. Pinky Concha Colmenares, Executive Editor from Manila Bulletin, for message from the President to our guest.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for giving up your holiday to be in this forum with us. I know that all of you would have wanted to join your families, go malling today, or have a special picnic. And so thank you that you have given us this time. The SPMJ Forum was organized to give real, accurate, and complete information on issues related to motoring. So that's why our first forum, we discussed the PUV modernization program, wherein our speakers also presented the different sides of the PUV modernization program. In this forum, we are presenting the issues related to the motorcycle riders. They are now about 5 million and growing around the country, and they are so much a part of our roads. They are not only there as leisure riders or hobbyists, but the motorcycle is now a vehicle to bring people to work and to destinations. So in this forum, we have invited the key people who can give us complete information on issues related to motorcycles. We have, well, they will be introduced properly by Arnel, our moderator. And I hope that all of you, the members of the media who are here today, can give your readers a grasp of what this is all about, not only from one side, but from the side of the motorcycle riders, the Highway Patrol Group, the LTO, and the Motorcycle Development Council. So without much ado, I'll give you to Arnel Doria, who is our moderator. Thank you again, gentlemen, for coming.
All right, thank you very much, Pinky. Well, alam naman natin lahat, unprecedented growth of the motorcycle industry in the past several years, ano? motorcycle has become yung tools of mobility of most Filipinos. It has also created a lot of jobs for motorcycle factory workers and of course sellers, mga nagtitinda. And it also provide opportunities for motorcycle-related businesses, mga nagdi-deliver. So maraming epekto na to. And there are some who are relying on motorcycles as transportation. Yung ating mga kaibigan nag-ooperate ng tricycles. So, yung paglago naman ng motorcycle, unprecedented, but it created a lot of some issues because hindi naman lumaki yung road network natin ng kasing bilis ng pagdami ng motorsiklo. And to have as many motorcycle in a limited space, hindi maiwasan, may mga frictions tayo sa mga iba-ibang road users. And we have a lot of different road users, katulad ng mga pedestrians, bicyclists, motorcyclists, tricycles, car users, truck users, and even mga big vehicles users. We all use the same road network. But we're lucky that today we have representatives from the motorcycle users, from our traffic enforcement and traffic management, HPG and LTO, and yung motorcycle, yung nagsusupply po ng motorsiklo, yung Motorcycle Manufacturers Association, yung MDPPA. Nandito po sila and they will help us understand ano yung mga issues na nararanasan ng mga motorcycle users in our everyday life. As our President mentioned, we have about 5 million motorcycle users all over the country, so they're everywhere already. All right, without further ado, introduce ko lang muna ating mga guest resource person dito before we ask them to give their message. First of all, ang resource person natin nandito, ang chief po ng PNP Highway Patrol Group, si Chief Superintendent Roberto Fajardo. Good afternoon, sir. And we have also with us the President of MDPPA, Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association, Mr. Armando Reyes. Army. We have also the Chief of LTO Law Enforcement Service Director, Director Francis Ray Almora. Good afternoon. And one of our popular person among the motorcycle users, siya po yung isa sa mga convener po ng Motorcycle Rights Organization with the growing members dito sa Philippines, Mr. Jobert Bolaños. Alright, so tuloy na po tayo. Una kong tatawagin dito ang galing po sa mga motorcycle users at sila po ang topic natin ngayong umaga. So Mr. Jobert Bolaños prepared a simple presentation to help us understand ano yung mga kinakaharap ng mga motorcycle users sa araw-araw nila. Right, Jobert?
Thank you, Mr. Doria. To the distinguished guests, good afternoon. Sa mga media personnel na nandito, good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name is Jobert Bolaños, representing Motorcycle Rights Organization. And I also speak on behalf of the Riders of the Philippines. Ito po yung grupo na binuo late last year that combines a majority of the national groups, federations, organizations, clubs. So basically, Riders of the Philippines is the alliance, the primary alliance right now in the country. So what we have here is a presentation on the motorcycle community issues that we face on a daily basis. Na ito po yung aming parte ng aming kabuhayan bilang rider. This is what we go through as well. So this contains issues when it comes to legislation, enforcement, and then there's also issues that we face on media. But aside from that, we also prepared suggestions where we can meet halfway so that we can create a better relationship between the riders, the lawmakers, the enforcement, and our media friends. The first issue that we have right now, which is we consider it a major issue, is the regulation of helmet use. Why is it an issue? In recent years, RA 10054 was put into law. It was signed by the President during his term. I believe this was signed during the time of President Aquino. So what it gives us is a law that requires all motorcycle riders to wear a helmet. So this protects the helmet user or the motorcycle rider from a fatal accident. Kasi most fatal accidents are because of head injury. So the helmet has been proven, tried and tested over the years, not only in this country but in other countries as well. So this is a worldwide mandate to create a law to safeguard yung ulo ng mga riders. So we have here several different types of helmets, the full face modular, the dual sport, what motocross riders use. And then you have the open face, and then you have the beanies. Yung beanies, ito yung paborito ho ng mga gumagamit ng mga old school motorcycles, more famously known as the Harley-Davidson riders. But anyway, these are all motorcycle helmets. In the law, it was not specified that you can only use one particular helmet. In the law, as long as it's a motorcycle helmet accepted by the DTI and follows standards, it is considered a motorcycle helmet for legal use on the street. So if you are not wearing a helmet, then you are violating that law. However, in the past years, since the promulgation of this law, what we experience is there are legislation from the local barangay ordinance to the city ordinance to the municipal ordinance to the provincial ordinance asking riders to remove their helmets in operation. So it contradicts national law. And that is where we face some problems. To cite an example, Vegan was the first one that issued an ordinance that whenever you're in the town of Vegan, no one must wear a helmet for identity purposes. Now, this is more on the purpose of crime prevention. Next slide. In a memo written by OIC Catalino Cuy, he reminded all the local government that we have a national law in place. But in spite his memo, we still see continuous ordinances being pushed that deprives the rider to protect his head. So, continuous pa ho. So, nagkakaroon ho ng banggaan from the national law and the local ordinances. Next slide, please. Next issue that we also face on a day-to-day basis is the misinterpretation of the laws. Being a part of the Motorcycle Rights Organization, our focus is on laws such as the Republic Act 4136, ACL 2009-018, otherwise known as the MVIS document, and then previous laws on motorcycles, AHS 2008-015, which was later on, some provisions of this law was suspended by AHS 2008-01, all written by Alberto Swansing. Then we have the various memos, ordinances, bills, and then we also have PD 96, which is a very hot issue right now. Aware naman ho tayo na meron tayong action na ginagawa on that aspect. So on this evidence photo album, we will show the different aspects on the misinterpretation of laws. Here is one issue that we recently had several meetings with the HPG with nung panahon po ni General Escobar. So we have discussed this issue in regards with the use of auxiliary lights. Medyo naging hot topic po kasi ang paggamit ho ng LED. Admittedly, LED has been abused. So what the LTO did through the team of Director ALMORA with the LTO LES, we created a guideline for the proper use of these lights. So meron ho tayong proper use of headlights, tail lights, signal lights, auxiliary lights, and fog lights on the motorcycles. So this is one of the files that has been put out by the LTO, which mentions kung ano yung proper usage ng mga ilaw. So we have a guideline for the use of these lights. We have lots of documents pertaining to this kasi there was a time that there was a memo that went viral that all lead should be apprehended, which was also later taken back by the same person who signed that memo, tapos kinlarify na nila yung proper usage. So the laws it pertains to right now is kapag nasa kalsada po kasi kami, medyo besides dun sa ORCR lisensya na chinecheck, we are also being checked with the components of the motorcycle. We don't contest that program because everybody has a responsibility to abide by the laws. And since LTO created a memo for the use of auxiliary lights, we follow that as much as we can, and we teach others to follow it also. However, in recent months, there has been an operational mandate wherein all auxiliary lights are being confiscated. So dito ho kami nagkaroon ng problema. Can we continue with the pictures? There has been a number of apprehensions wherein lights, blinkers have been confiscated. We understand that PD 96 pertains to the use of emergency lights and sirens. However, auxiliary lights, not all of them fall under this mandate. Meron ho tayong simple lights lang on and off, which aid motorcycle user kapag napupunta siya sa madidilim na lugar. However, medyo napapatungan po yung iba on the road. Napapatungan sila ng violation ka ng PD 96, bawal ang LED. But PD 96 does not cover LED. It doesn't cover auxiliary lights. In fact, it is allowed by RA 4136, and it was specifically set into regulation by the latest memo signed by Cabrera back in 2016. So A to J. In 2017, Escobal, the former HPG chief, released a memo to all his personnel that we abide by the LTO rules and regulations. However, after his memo, the apprehensions and the confiscations continued. So, sad to say, we had to open this up with NAPOLCOM, and there is now an ongoing session with NAPOLCOM regarding this issue. Aside from this, another issue is the confiscation of other components. So the general problem here is the problem on the word modification. The word modification has been misinterpreted. Yes, it is mentioned on RA 4136 and other pertinent memos. However, when we interpret the word modification, there has to be a specific item on the document that says this is illegal and this must be apprehended and this must be confiscated. To us, if it's not listed, it is not illegal. For example, if we change our mufflers by an aftermarket muffler, in essence, it's still a muffler. But to enforcement, they consider it as a modification. If we use that interpretation, if a car user changes his stock mag wheels with an aftermarket mag wheel, then that is also a modification. But to us, as far as the UP College of Law is concerned, what the very simple argument here is, if it is not listed as illegal, then it is not illegal. So we have here excerpts from the laws of LTO, one of which is the mention of on mufflers, noise level. We have a 115 decibel limit measured at 2 meters from the source. So there is a mode of measurement. These are all mentioned on the MVIS document. However, we still see na there are confiscations happening. So anyway, these are just some of the evidences that we have gathered to talk about the misinterpretation of the laws. Next is regulating passengers. By law, carrying one passenger aside from the rider is not illegal. So every motorcycle can have 2 people riding at one given time, the rider and his passenger, given na may upuan and may footpeg siya. However, there are ordinances that contradict this provision. One, for example, is Taal, who put out a riding in tandem law. But Taal, thank God, pinayagan kami to argue the said law, and right now, this is not anymore in effect. What they do is, instead of apprehending people with backriders, what they do is, if you have a backride, you're subject to verification. So automatic, if an enforcer or any person from Taal, they will flag you down and validate the identity of the rider and the motorcycle, kung naka-timbre ba yan or naka-ano yan. So what they do is, after validation, they let you go. No more apprehension happens. However, when you go to Mandaluyong City, eto na, nag-iiba na ang kwento. In Mandaluyong City, they started that ordinance. Actually, ito yung first, and we are still fighting this. In Mandaluyong, they criminalize people with passengers, male passengers. Ang pinapayagan lang dito is if the passenger is your son or your father, but if the passenger is your uncle, your lolo, your cousin, you are now considered in violation of that ordinance. And what is this ordinance? It is the anti-backrider ordinance. So these are sample tickets of the people caught by this ordinance. It's not just the rider being ticketed, it's also the passenger. And they are fined 1,000 pesos each. So for each apprehension in Mandaluyong City, you are already fined 2,000. So what does this tell us? In Mandaluyong City, we are profiled as criminals. We are immediately scorned as a threat to society. So even if national law allows us to carry a passenger in Mandaluyong, we are criminalized. Why do I say criminalized? If you disregard an apprehension in Mandaluyong, you are sent a subpoena and you are charged in court. And after you are charged in court, you are then ordered by court. The court puts out a warrant of arrest and puts you in jail. And then in jail, things happen na hindi naman natin gusto. But again, the purpose of the law is to stop criminality. But when we did our research in Mandaluyong City, in terms of riding in tandem, that was the old term, crimes, the numbers did not change. Actually, the numbers even increased. In fact, the person, the lawyer who was in charge of this is the late prosecutor who was murdered in Mandaluyong City also. Not by a riding in tandem wearing helmet, kasi that's the other issue. Tinatanggal nila yung helmet for identification. Ang bumarel based on CCTV are motorcycle riding criminals. Two of them, angkas yung isa, yung gunman, pero they were not wearing helmets and was murdered inside Mandaluyong City. So what did the law do? It did not stop the crimes. It did not stop criminality. What it did was it gave Mandaluyong City income instead. So that's a big issue that we face right now, and we are going to address this through court. Next. Now we have MC for public transport. Ito mainit po. This is the favorite topic currently of Winnie Castelo, congressman from Quezon City. On MC for public transport, we address this because of TNVS, Congress Bills RA 4136, the Tricycle Regulatory Board, LTFRB, and then the purpose is for commuters, and then regulating standards. The modern methods right now, through app-based ride-hailing, it's the same with motorcycles. The only difference with this and habal-habal, ang habal-habal walang training ang rider. Ang habal-habal walang insurance ang rider. Pero yung app-based companies like GrabBike, Angkas, they all have that. They have training, they have screening, they have reporting methods. For example, I get reported for dangerous riding by my passenger. My app will automatically disconnect me from the server. So I'm already punished Government does not have this kind of system, but these app-based companies have. So we're promoting this because ang kailangan natin tulungan dito, hindi naman yung motorcycle riders. We have to help the commuters kasi sila ho yung nagki-carry ng burden ng traffic sa Pilipinas. And what this does for motorcycle riders is it professionalizes the motorcycle rider. Problema ang disiplina sa kalsada. Hindi lang naman ng motorcycle riders, all types of vehicles, problema ang disiplina. But how do we control the discipline problem of motorcycle? We turn them into professionals. And through this regulation, they are now professionalized, they become more responsible and more disciplined. That's the after effect. So that's what we hope to gain from that. And lastly, another issue that we face is we also experience discrimination from media. Well, not from our media friends here. So far, wala naman ho kaming nakikitang galit sa amin dito na media. But in some places, there are media who hates motorcycles in such a way that they will write articles that influence road rage against motorcycle riders. So that's one issue that we face. So we want the help of media to promote responsible journalism. Na wag naman sila mag-influence ng road rage sa mga riders. We're all trying to survive the traffic and the situation, the problems that we all face. So our suggestions, we focus on road safety initiatives that we do. Eliminate anti-modification by properly creating a regulation for all. And then, of course, for the help of criminality, community crime watch programs rather than forcing laws onto us that sacrifice our safety and sacrifice our rights as motorists. So that's our presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jobert. At this point, yung mga media members natin and guests, if you have questions for Mr. Jobert, now is the time we'll entertain the question, if there are.
Sir, good afternoon. Fort Manan from Carmody, Philippines. Sir, with regards to your efforts on the misinterpretation of LTO laws and regulations, have you been in talks with legislators regarding this? And what's the status po?
Thank you for your question. Yes, we have been in talks with them. Actually, we have been taken in by Congress as a resource as well. So in all the legislations that are coming out, there are several major legislations. There's the legislation on the use of helmets. So they want, LGUs have the power to suspend the national law. That has been put aside already. And then other laws that are coming out, yung sa transport, and then the discriminatory issues that we all face. Very active naman ang Committee on Transportation. Sunod-sunod ho ang meetings namin with them. And then recently, Metro Manila Development Committee has also addressed the issue. And we were called upon. So with the legislation, we are doing good. We have created a relationship and they have seen our position and have taken in our position as relevant. On the side of enforcement, previously, before Director Fajardo took General Escobal's place in HPG, he issued a directive that they follow the LTO rules and regulations. However, on the street, it's a different story. So continuous pa rin yung confiscation, even if they are legal. So we have already requested Director Fajardo for an appointment. Hopefully we can show him all the evidences that we have collected from the point where Escobal issued the memorandum up to recent. Actually, the last apprehension and confiscation was done about 3 days ago in broad daylight in Laguna by HPG personnel. So we're prepared for that. We also have an ongoing case with NAPOLCOM right now, pero we're not going after the officers that are apprehending. What we're requesting NAPOLCOM is to support the memorandum that Escobal has put out so that the enforcement from different regions will put respect to that memorandum. Because as far as the directors from other provinces are concerned, yung memorandum ni Escobar, tinawag nilang fake news. Sabi ng mga officers, that's fake news, that's not real. Yun ho yung mga sinasabi ng mga officers on the street level. But as far as high command and the headquarters is concerned, malinaw naman na ho yung usapan. We just need to enforce that. And also, we would like to sit down with them, with Senator J.V. Ejercito has actually called a meeting. We are waiting for that to happen. So that's with HPG, LTO, and ourselves, so that we can present all the evidences that we have collected. So we can put a control on the issues.
Okay.
Other than that, we're hoping na yung mga bills na kinikreate namin would come into play also, but election is taking politics. Politics is using those legislation that we have created. So far yun ho yung status namin.
Sir, follow-up na lang. You regarding dun, sir, sa aftermarket modification usage, have you sought for sponsorship from our legislators at mayroon bang support na tayo nakuha from them?
We have a bill that we are creating with Asia Foundation and Transport Watch. It's called the Unified Motorcycle Law, which addresses all of these issues. So we're putting everything into one document in relation to motorcycles. Right now, we are still in the construction process of this draft bill. But as far as sponsors are concerned, we can already name a few people who are backing us up. Senator J.V. Ejercito is backing us up. Congressman Rufy Biazon is backing us up. Congressman Winnie Castelo is also backing us up. And in recent developments, in some portions, not everything, because they haven't seen the entirety of the bill, but as far as transport naman is concerned, Congressman Bayani Fernando is also backing us up. So initially, sila lang po yung mga kausap namin. We're still in talks with Senator Grace Po also, who seemingly has interest also with this bill that we're creating.
All right. Thank you very much, Jobert. So let's proceed with our next guest, who is the PNP HPG Chief Superintendent Roberto Pardo. I understand medyo kakapasok lang. So may we hear from the HPG under your watch kung ano naman ang plano natin para sa ating mga motorcycle riders?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Actually, I was invited here. I was on leave at the time abroad, so just arrived last week. But anyway, since this is about motorcycle, it is just timely because we are very concerned about the safety and security of motorcycle riders. Kaya nga yung HPG is very supportive of the, actually with the motorcycle enthusiasts. We open up the motorcycle, the members of the motorcycle clubs, those individual or riders to become road marshals. And we nagkakanta kami ng seminar. At the same time, they take an oath that they will support the HPG in every day. Kasi sila nasa kalsada, we use them as the eyes and ears for the safety and security of all road users and also for the benefit of the riding public, especially the motorcycle enthusiasts. So HPG give importance to the vulnerable road users. Ito yung the public, the riders, in addressing the road safety. And this includes pedestrian, bicyclists, particularly the motorcycle riders. These vulnerable road users account for more than half of the all road crash, death, and injuries in the countries. And HPG is strictly enforcing the PD 96, or the prohibition of lights, sound, signal that are startling or unpleasant. These include siren, horn, blinkers, dome light that are often the cause of road crashes. And HPG will continue to oppose measures that will give LGU authority to temporarily suspend the enforcement of helmet law. HPG adheres to the road safety So about this helmet law, this is the law that this should be strictly followed. So LG ordinances that prohibits helmets due to the concern about motorcycle riding suspect, MRS ang tawag namin dito eh. Motorcycle riding suspect. Oo, hindi riding in tandem. So any LGU's ordinances says that prohibits helmets due to the concern about MRS, the motorcycle riding suspect, it is against our national law and is a major safety concern. So safety concern of motorcycle riders, siyempre yung safe speed, so all motorcycle riders must adhere to the speed laws in all roadways. Use of helmet. Marami talaga walang helmet. So ito yung isa sa mga causes of death. The anti-drug driving law, a growing cause of road crashes, is the influence of alcohol on drivers and drugs. At maraming ang actually I just talked with the provincial bus operators. Yun ang problema nila, yung binabato yung buses na dumadaan and karamihan nakamotor. Sa probinsya nakamotor. And ang problema rito, karamihan nakainom. At the same time, mga minors. Yan ang problema natin. So yung again, yung safety ng mga minors, ano ba talaga yun? Law, kung pwede ba sila maggamit ng motorcycle. Isa ito sa mga concern ng mga bus operators. Then yung overloading. Yes, it is allowed only one passenger and one driver. And for child safety on motorcycle, no child is allowed to ride on the motorcycle. Pag yung child hindi niya kayang apakan yung footrest. So pag yung paa niya nakalaylay, bawal ho yun. Dapat yung child, kaya niyang apakan yung footrest. Kasi safety yun eh. Kung kaya niyang apakan yung footrest, kaya niya, mas stable yung tayo niya. So kung hindi niya kayang apakan yung footrest, bawal ang child sa motor. Again, we'll go back to LED lights. Ito yung isa sa mga hot concern nga. Itong LED kasi, it causes temporary blindness on other motorists. Pwede naman gumamit ng LED, pero hindi dapat nakataas, nakababa. And ang ginagamit natin nga dito is the PD96. This is yung mga illegal attachments. Hindi naman talaga kung yung LED is manufactured paglabas sa hindi namin talaga pinapakialaman yun. But yung mga illegal attachment yung pinapakialaman namin based on the PD96. The use of horn, lights, sounds, dome lights, ito na yan, including blinker, siren, LED lights that are unpleasant and startling. Yes, the Congress support and the SPG was able to defend the apprehension of LED lights because the term LED lights is just a new term of such light that it is the unpleasant or that causes temporary blindness of 3 seconds and hence it is a safety issue. So the law doesn't specify yung, ulitin ko yung sa bata, the age. But on the, sa Pilipino kasi maliliit tayo eh. So again, ulitin natin yung safety ng bata. Yung sa habal-habal naman, it's ang problema ngayon. Yung motorcycle, hindi yan public utility vehicle eh. So this is blatant disregard to the law of franchise. So certificate of public convenience requires utmost diligence on operator. So allowing MC as PUV for passenger is allowing passenger to be put at risk. And all our action naman sa HPG is based on law. We have explained the orders and enforcement of activities of HPG with the Office of the President, NAPOLCOM, and the Secretary of Interior Local Government, and to include the Chairman of House Committee on Transportation, Congressman Cesar Sarmiento, and they all support HPG regarding PD96. That's all. Thank you and good afternoon.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Pardo. Do we have questions from our members and guests to Chief Pardo?
Good afternoon po. I'm VJ BACUNGAN from Business Mirror Motoring. My question po is for Mr. Fajardo, sir. You mentioned earlier in your statement na motorcycles are not meant to be public utility vehicles and that making them PUVs would put passengers at risk. Ganun po, no? So, as mentioned po nung previous speaker, parang they're trying to make moves po to professionalize or put safeguards, legal safeguards po for app-based transport like Angkas or Grab Bike. Would this be something that the HPG would object to, considering what you said?
Yeah, actually, yung motorcycle na is you are just allowed one driver and one passenger. So the moment you make use that as a public utility vehicle, that is more than two. Again, yung motorcycle is designed for actually for two person lang. Pag nilagay mong sidecar, that is putting the life of the passenger at risk. Ito lang kasi ang problema sa local government natin, LGUs. Sa kanila, sila yung nagle-legislate dito. But if you will see yung about motorcycle, it is designed only for two passenger, for one driver and one passenger.
Okay, sir. So kung, considering that statement, sir, so kung, like say, Angkas na one rider and one passenger, that's, as long as it doesn't exceed two people on the motorcycle, that's okay naman po yun, sir?
Yes, that's okay.
Yung ganong
That
app-based
is the law, yeah.
Okay naman. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's proceed. Our next resource person, related din sa enforcement, ano? So siya ang ating resource director from the LTO Law Enforcement Section, Director Francis Ray Almora. Ano naman ang, from the side of LTO, ano naman ang ating nakikita dyan for our motorcycle riders?
Good afternoon, everyone. For LTO, we recognize that the motorcycle is part of our transport system, that there's already a big, it's like a leap and bounds in the number of motorcycles using the road. They're now part of the road system. And so for LTO, we listen to them. We listen to the motorcycle groups. We try to reconcile existing legislation with what is happening in the road. We all know that the road safety is everyone's concern, considering that we are all road users. So on the part of LTO, we would just like to remind that the motorcycles have also responsibilities to do. Of course, one issue that enforcement usually encounter on a daily basis are the non-registration of motorcycles. The registration of motorcycles, except for 250 and above, is 1 year. And usually some motorcycle riders, after getting the motorcycle from the dealer registers it. But then sometimes they forget to register the succeeding years, and they're operating on the road without registration. Our law states that no motor vehicle is allowed along Philippine highways except unless they're registered. Another issue that we would like to remind our riders is on the duty of having a license. The riders should be duly licensed. And likewise, the motorcycle should be installed, or they should have plates. They should not be using for registration as plates, because if they say for registration, they're already violating the first that I have mentioned, which is their duty to have those motorcycles registered. So they are already calling attention of the enforcers when they use the plate motorcycle for registration. So we have under the LTO guidelines, even for motor vehicle, 4 wheels and above, we have guidelines on the use of temporary plates. We recognize that we were for some years now, LTO was not able to provide the plates. That's why we've provided a temporary plate that would prove that the motor vehicle is registered. We are not after the plate as a metal plate or anything, but then as long as there's a proof that the motorcycle is registered, then that motor vehicle is allowed along the national roads. So we know that what we are implementing is not actually no plate, no travel. There's no such thing as no plate, no travel. It is no registration, no travel. Some were mentioned here a while ago on some LTO issuances. For speed limit, we had there was a posting somewhere which was sent to us that on the speed limits. And what is very startling here is they mention they emphasize on the 80 kilometers per hour on open country roads with no blind corners, not closely bordered by habitations. We hope that with you as our partners, we can educate the riders that this is not the basis of their speed, because it will depend on the size also of the motorcycle. Can a 50cc run as fast as 80 kilometers per hour without being reckless? So there's that factor of reckless driving if they will run the maximum of 80. Some riders think that they're allowed up to 80 kilometers. But then if they will not consider the other factors, then they could be apprehended for reckless driving, even if they have not reached that speed. So we should remind our riders that that is just the maximum speed, and they should consider all other factors while driving or operating their units, and not just to try to reach that speed and then say the law provides that the maximum speed allowed for motorcycle is 80 kilometers per hour. Wearing of standard helmet was mentioned. So the standard helmet, as defined by Jobert here, as shown by Jobert, a standard helmet is considered a standard helmet provided it is with an ICC sticker and a PNS sticker, or a PNS sticker, the Philippine National Standard sticker. With regards to modification, we have actually specific guidelines on modification. Please take note of the difference between modification and replacement part. A manufactured part of the unit is already, let's say, worn out, and you replace it with a similar part, that is a replacement. But if you change the design, then that is modification. So under this Department Order number 2010-32, these are the prohibited modification. This is true for motor vehicles and motorcycles. Axle modification. If the original axle is 2 and you make it 3, then that's a violation. That's not allowed. Chassis modification. If the motor vehicle is supposed to be just 8 meters and you make it 12, extend the chassis, then that's a violation of this rule. Additional siding of dump trucks from the design, extended overhang, change of rim size. This was mentioned a while ago. Change of rim size. It's not, if the size is 14 and you make it 15 or 18, that's an illegal modification. If it is 18 inches and you change it into 14, lowered, that is an illegal modification as per LTO issuance. That's also true with motorcycles. Rim modification, rim size modification. We have modification of handlebars and mufflers. This is the usual problem that we encounter. Some riders change the design of the handlebar, so that for us in the enforcement is an illegal modification. And if they change the muffler, then that is an illegal modification. Reconfiguration of body dimensions and designs is also an illegal modification. We have the new laws, and this is where we have the convergence with the motorcycle group led by Mr. Bolanos, and they were very instrumental in crafting these issuances of LTO. We have top boxes and saddlebags. Our only concern here is when the top box or saddlebag, it is a standard top box or a saddlebag, it does not need to be registered. It does not need to be inspected by LTO. But if it is a special top box or saddlebag, then this requires inspection by LTO and it must be registered. This is, again, another source of irritants with the riders on the road, especially if it is not a standard saddlebag or top box. We're referring to like those that are being used by food delivery. And what should be important here is we take note of the size of the top box or saddlebag. It must be at least, it must not extend more than 14 inches from the side of motorcycle. This is under the custom-made saddlebag. Here, under C, they shall not exceed 14 inches from the sides. So if this will exceed 14 inches from the side, then that is subject for apprehension. If a motorcycle rider violates this, we consider this as a violation of Section 2D, the motor vehicle operating without or with defective, improper, unauthorized accessory devices or equipment, and they will be fined with 3,000. For motorcycle lights, motorcycles are equipped with these basic 4 parts or lights: the headlight, which should be white or yellowish in color; tail light or tail lamp must be red in color and have no blinker mode; direction indicator light must be yellow, amber, or orange color only; the stop brake lamp will be wired and may be turned on only when the brake system of the motorcycle is applied. However, with what Mr. Bolanos had mentioned, we had allowed additional lights. These additional lights include the parking lamp, fog lamp, number plate lights. However, attachment of these additional lights should follow or should conform with the standard that was placed here. For parking lamp, they can be wired that they will be lit simultaneously, shall not be turned on while motorcycle is moving. Fog lamps should only be lit during instances of thick fog, but they must have their own switches. So when we check these additional lights, we check on the switches actually. So if the additional light is colored red and blue and with blinking mode, then it falls under PD 96 as mentioned by General Fajardo, and it will be a violation of PD 96. If the horn is not actually the regular horn as designed by the manufacturer, but it has that startling sound. We know, I believe you have heard that sound, that startling sound, which can startle a driver and create an accident. So this must also be complied with. And there's that provision a while ago on the law provides that motorcycle should only have 1 rider and 1 back rider. This relates to the current issues on the angkas, grab angkas and everything. There's a confusion on who among the national agencies is in charge of this. Is it LTO? Is it LTFRB? Because motorcycle is not part of the local government, the code which allows them to regulate tricycles. This is motorcycles. So if we relate the design of the motorcycle and safety of the motorcycle, then 1 rider, 1 back rider is allowed. However, there is a provision under 4136 which states that any motor vehicle registered as private must not in any manner be used to carry freight or passenger for a fee. So if your motorcycle is registered as private, then you are not allowed in any manner to be used to deliver cargo, freight, or passenger for a fee. So klaro po sana yun na pagka-private po, hindi po pwedeng gamitin as for hire. We have also a lot of queries. We also receive a lot of queries on motorcycle bikes or electric bikes. Some dealers had initially made claims that electric bikes are exempted from registration. The drivers or riders are exempted from getting a license, and they even use it along national roads. So if we go back to the provisions of 4136, as I had earlier mentioned, no motor vehicle, and we define motor vehicle as any that is powered other than muscular power. So, sinasabi kasi na, it's electric. Electric is not human power. So, it is powered. It must be registered. So yun po, sabihin po nagkaroon po ng confusion on the side of LTO, which we have been trying to fix on the registration of electric motor vehicles. In the LTO system, the only difference there between electric, gasoline, and diesel is the fuel. So we had already added electric as part of the fuel under the drop-down system of LTO. Kasi dati, it's just diesel and gasoline. Walang electric. So they don't know where to place it. But electric motorcycle is designed as a motorcycle. So it is already there. A four-wheel electric vehicle is already in our system. It's just a fuel. But now we have added that fuel in the system of LTO, so it can be registered anytime. With that, thank you.
All right, any questions from our members? Okay, Mr. Butch Gamboa has a question.
I have a question which may be answered by either Director Almora or General Fajardo. I must admit my exposure to bikes has really been limited. As many of you know, I've been with motoring cars for the past 3 decades, but right now, some time back, I've realized that I should also turn my focus on motorcycles. It's an existence that we cannot take for granted. We have more motorcycles than cars on the road right now. Now, having said that, I was listening very intently to the prohibitions that you were describing, Director Almora. It's probably because I'm not so much exposed to motorcycles that I must admit, mahirap pong tandaan. Question is, in situations where there are law enforcers from the LTO who would discern that such an attachment or such a design is not legal, we can also take into consideration that bikers also know their bikes. In situations where there is this unmatched opinion, meaning sabihin ng motorcycle rider, hindi, okay to. It's within the law. Sasabihin ng LTO or HPG representative, that's against the law. Without necessarily taking the side of the riders, ang labanan ho doon, sabihin sa presinto ko na lang mag-explain. Paano ho natin magagawa ng paraan ho ito? Dahil, let's face it, yung paniniwala ng motorcycle rider o may-ari, and this is within the law. Paniniwala ng LTO, HPG, it's not within the law. In the same time, at that point, ang unang ma-disbenefit ay yung rider. Hindi ba? Siya'y maabala. Is there any way we can do something about this? Should there be more educational or information campaigns by the LTO and the CHPG to make it more known to all riders exactly what is within the law and what is outside of the law? Meron ho ba tayong educational program on this?
Sir, for LTO, we are coming up with the Filipino Driver's Manual. We hope to come up with that. It's already for printing. And this incorporates all about the procedures and laws, driving laws in the Philippines. We also include that the road signs and pavement markings. We also have an office in LTO. We call that under the Law Enforcement Service, the Traffic Safety Division. This office is primarily for the IAC campaigns or advocacy campaigns of LTO with regards to driver's education. We are doing some effort to do this. With regards to that part of your question, sir, if there's a conflict of interpretation, I will just give an example. We allow auxiliary light, but it says there, it must be 6 bulbs only, and it must be placed in such a manner that they will not form a bar. In some riders thought that they can place several bars provided it's only 6 bulbs. So they're violating the law because it's already more than 6 bulbs for one unit. It is already considered as one single bar, although it's separate. So yun po yung so for some, it's the interpretation of the law, and we are also doing that. Actually, we do some outreach program with the motorcycle groups to educate the riders on these the provisions of the law.
Okay, tumatango ho si Jobert. So palagay ko okay si Ron.
HPG is doing something about educating our motorists. Actually, last year we launched nga itong motorcycle road marshals or ambassador natin to sa these are eyes and ears in the road. So, yun nga, tinatawagan namin lahat ng motorcycle clubs, motorcyclist rider to join us. Actually, we have already about 17,000 members nationwide, and we are encouraging all the motorcycle riders to be part of our road marshals. This is our one way of educating the motorcycle riders, because we conduct seminars and we are educating them about, as part of the malaman nila yung dapat nila ilagay sa motor at hindi dapat ilagay, ano yung bawal. So HPG is doing something for the good of the motorists, especially the motorcycle riders.
Yung issue ng angkas, nasabi niyo po na hindi bawal mag-angkas. Nasabi naman ni Director ALMORA, bawal mag-angkas kung maniningil ka. Let's take real-life situations. HPG, may naka-angkas. Paano yung malalaman? Do you just stop?
In HPG, actually, if there is no reported criminal incident, or if nagkanda kami ng checkpoint, if there is a reported criminal riding suspect in the area, kung wala naman, hindi naman basta-basta kami nagpapababa ng passenger. Yung other checkpoints, ito yung nasa local, hindi sa amin yan. Kasi mas, kumbaga sa we conduct operation mostly against carnappers, highway robbery, and carjacking. So we have our focus, intelligence-driven operation. So hindi kayo basta-basta nagpapababa ng passenger. Yung sinasabi nga from LTO, bawal talaga yung passenger na may bayad.
Kung aaminin.
Hindi naman, malalaman naman natin kami bayad eh. Kasi malayo pa, pinapababa niya na eh. Kasi ma-check din namin, actually, we joint operation with LTO and LTFRB on this colorum vehicles, hindi lang vehicle, pati motor. Alam namin kung may bayad o hindi eh.
Kasi I have to ask General if you don't mind. Kasi nakakatulong din ho yan eh. Sa mga nagmamadali talaga. Na merong magkatulong.
Yes, tama yan. Nakakatulong po. Pero again, the safety.
Hindi lang ho regulated.
Yes. The safety. Kasi pagdating, wala hong insurance yung o hindi nga sila authorized na maging public conveyance. At the same time, wala ho silang a certificate of public conveyance. So, hindi sila bibigyan ng insurance ng insurance company. Kawawa ho yung riding public.
What would it take for this angkas concept to be legalized?
Again, it's
Congress?
Congress. It's a law.
Can't be anything else but Congress?
Yes. It needs a law.
Thank you po.
Patrick Tulvo, Business Mirror. So I was listening to Director Francis about modification of the motorcycles. So I'm just wondering, sir, you mentioned bawal yung ganon. And then I have some friends, they own underbones, and they modify it. They bring ng mga handlebar. I'm just wondering, if you say that this is not allowed, and why don't you go after those guys who sell them?
Sir, on the part of LTO, it's the violation of transportation laws. We have another speaker, as mentioned, and that's the manufacturing side. Probably they could answer that, especially why do we prohibit a modification of the handlebar, what does that modification have to affect the integrity or the safety of the motorcycle? What is the effect if we modify the standards of the manufacturer with regards to safety? So siguro po, ma-answer po niyan mamaya. Pero sa amin po, LTO is more on the enforcement of land transportation rules and regulation. We don't, that is already maybe a copyright or another issue which could be better answered by the manufacturer, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Sir, regarding po sa pag-aangkas ng bata, ang provision po natin, as long as kaya niya matapakan yung foot pegs, pwede po siyang umangkas. Ano po? Maybe this is just a clarification. Kasi marami pong commuter bikes na scooter. Yun po yung flat, yung floorboard sa harap. And most of the time po, pag mag-aangkas ng bata ang scooter rider, nasa harap. Is that allowed po or kailangan sa likod siya sasakay? That's one question lang po. And second, about pag-aangkas po ng bata. Like Jobert, I've been riding for so many years na, no? And marami po available talaga na may safety certifications na helmet for adults. Sa mga bata po, very rare if ever magkaroon sa market. So probably not the concern of LTO, pero since LTO rin po yung nag-check ng proper wearing of helmets, meron po ba tayong parang provision or regulation in place para po sa mga helmet ng bata? Kasi as it is, wala pa rin po akong, I am not aware of siguro reputable brands or yung helmet na pambata na may safety standards. Thank you.
May I answer that po? Yes. Under Republic Act 10666 po, with regards po yung bata na nasa harap, ang provision po ng batas, may tatlo pong consideration yon. Isa lang po yung kaya niyang apakan yun. He must reach the foot peg, which is not modified, the standard foot peg. Isa po yung he must be able to grasp ito pong ng rider. So automatic with that, pagka nasa harap, violation na po. Kasi hindi po siya hindi po niya maano. Referring po sa bata po yun eh. So dapat nasa likod po. And then yun nga po, yung with regards to then yung third na po dun is he must be wearing a standard helmet. We agree with you po. I think everyone here agrees na yung pong standard ng motorcycle helmet for a child, wala pa po. Pero better na lang po na meron kaysa wala.
As of now, kasi walang manufacturer ng child helmet except Vietnam. Pero ang Vietnam standard is lower yung standard na inaano ng Philippines. Anyway, tuloy po tayo. Meron pa tayo isang speaker at nabanggit ko kanina, part of our group of resource person is galing naman sila sa manufacturers ng motorcycle. And we have here the President of Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association o MDPPA, si Mr. Army Reyes.
Yeah, thank you, SPMJ, for inviting the association. By the way, I'm Army Reyes, the current president of the association, and at the same time, consultant of Honda Philippines. I will be presenting MDPA slides. Pakilala lang namin sino ba yung MDPA. It was established in 1973 as the Philippine Motorcycle Program Association. Changed its name to Motorcycle Development Program Participants, or MDPA, in 1989. And our current members are, of course, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, and Kimco. We are established manufacturers who invested in the country with facilities, technological transfer, and value-adding activities. New vision and mission. Actually, this is the new vision and mission of MDPA. We changed 2 weeks ago. And the vision is the most relevant motorcycle association, responsive to the needs of industry stakeholders, geared towards global competitiveness and sustainable development. Our mission is to address the global industry gaps in road safety, regulation compliance, environmental protection, technology, innovation. This will be done through active consultation, representation, and communication. Our values are safe riding, reliability, environment-friendly, and technology-driven. Our table of organization is, I'm the president right now. We have a committee composed of marketing committee, road safety committee, technical committee, and government committee. Our linkage and industry affiliation with the government, we are dealing with DNR, DILG or PNP or LGU, DOE, BOC, DOST, DOTR, LTO, TTI, and TESDA. And for the local, we are a member of the Federation of Automotive Industry of the Philippines, Federation of Philippine Industries, Philippine Global Road Safety Partnership, Safe Kids Worldwide Philippines, and Riders Federation and Clubs. We are also a member of International Motorcycle Industry, the Federation of Asian Motorcycle Industries, wherein we are 7 members. The members are Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore. And we are also a member of International Motorcycle Manufacturers Association, or IMA. Their members are mostly from Europe and North America. Our road safety advocacy, MDVP, education and awareness campaign. MDVP Trust is on road safety promotions. It is a continuing program to increase the level of awareness of road safety by addressing the negative perceptions and impact of motorcycles. We are conducting a promotion and activities such as safety riding outreach seminars for solo riders, riders club members, and senior high school students. Weekend seminars for riders in cooperation with concerned LGU, PNP, and LTO. Road safety seminars for children, grade 3 to 6, wherein we educate children on road safety and instilling in them the value of road discipline at an early age. Stickering campaign and arrest poster campaign, life-saving sticker campaign, dubbed as Helmet Saves Lives, which aims to mobilize stakeholders to help addressing the road safety problems. Of course, road safety advocacy rides, awareness campaign rides through distribution of road safety manuals and stickers. We also participate in road safety activities, RS Global, National Safety Kids Week, World Days of Remembrance, trade and motorcycle events. On government laws and rules and regulations, we do submit position papers on proposed bills, ordinances and IRRs, and participation in public consultations, such as the Helmet Act laws of 2009, Safety of Children Aboard Motorcycles, Anti-Distracted Driving Act, Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act of 2017, Mandatory Automatic Headlights on the Motorcycle Act of 2017, and various local government units proposed ordinances such as regulating tandem riding, helmet use, best control.
Thank you, sir. Again, sir, this is about the modifications on your products po. Well, of course, you said it's not allowed, but as we know, you have a market, a lot of dealers selling those type. That's generally not allowed. So I'm just wondering, sabi ni Sir Francis, the question should be directed to you. So, what is your opinion on this?
Actually, modification is, we strongly, we don't suggest modification of a motorcycle. First of all is safety, especially on handlebars. You mentioned handlebars.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We disallowed modification. On the warranty issue, once you modified your motorbike, it is not covered anymore by warranty.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, Sir Francis, I mean, sagot po ni Sir. So, parang yung pagbebenta ng parts na hindi allowed, parang droga yan eh. Isn't it? So, I'm just wondering, ba't di natin habulin yung mga gumagawa ng mga parts na bawal from the very beginning?
Una-una, yung pagbebenta kasi ng attachment, per se, hindi naman bawal eh.
Yes, sir.
Hindi naman bawal. Kasi una-una, nakakuha yan ng may business permit yan. Legal naman yung pasok. Pero pag illegal yung pasok yun, medyo may question doon, pwede na huliin. Saka, ang prohibition kasi is not on the selling of this illegal attachment. It is the prohibition, the use. Hindi naman yung selling. Kasi itong pagsesell, binibenta nila sa mga ambulances, PNP or AFP vehicle na kailangan to. Ibig sabihin, may paggagamitan talaga. Ito lang kasi, naging uso eh. Kaya lahat gusto na maglagay ng blinker, lahat gusto na maglagay ng LED. Kasi nakikita lang, very convenient at magandang tingnan eh. So, definitely, walang violation doon sa nagbebenta doon sa dealer o naman ang manufacturer. Ang may violation because the law is on the use of this illegal attachment. So, hindi natin pwedeng habulin yung dealer o manufacturer.
Yes, sir. Natanong ko lang, sir, kasi don't you get, on your part sa enforcement, don't you get tired of apprehending the same violation over and over again?
Sa amin, hindi kayo mapapagod kasi part ng mandate namin yon. Sila na lang mainis sa amin. Pero kami will continue to implement what is in the law.
Thank you, sir.
Hello again. My question po is for Director Almora again, sir. You mentioned earlier po yung Filipino driver's manual. So I was just wondering kung ano po yung, you said road signs and other things, but I'm interested in knowing ano pa yung other things that are contained in this. And you said po na it's for printing already. Kailan po ito ma-release and how can the public get a copy of this particular manual?
Actually, we hope to have that be uploaded in the LTO website up to the middle of September. The manual consists of 2 volumes, volume 1 and 2, and it actually outlines the whole, from the laws and procedures of getting a license, and then the international signs and markings. There were so many issues especially on road markings, that we do not provide much material on these. That's why there are a lot of violations on road markings, road safety part of the road system. So we had that as part of the manual.
Sir, what's the rationale behind publishing this manual considering RA 4136 already has yung mga road traffic laws and mga rules and regulations? Ba't po kailangan itong particular manual na ito?
This is also in compliance to the directive of this Senate and Congress for LTO to come up with a more stringent procedure on licensing and to have more quality drivers that are being licensed by LTO. So this is the answer of LTO. More often LTO is questioned on why this particular driver was able to get a license. So we also have a new law that's 10930, which also this is also part of that law, although the IRR was not yet published, but that's also in anticipation of that law.
Last question lang, sir. Filipino driver's manual, so in what languages will this be run? In English or Filipino or other languages po all over the country, considering marami rin pong mga kababayan natin can't speak English or Filipino?
Initially, it will be in English, but we already submitted this for translation in our Sangguniang Panwika, the Commission on National Language. Although, according to them, they could not translate that type of. So they have to outsource the translation to Filipino, but for other dialects, major dialects of the Philippines, we have to consult other groups, because if the Commission on National Language is facing some difficulty, then maybe the more that we have a difficulty in translating these into some major dialects, like Bisaya or Ilocano.
Okay, maraming salamat, sir.
Director Almora, sir, with regards to apprehension of Superintendent Fajardo, apprehension of overloaded motorcycles. Pati po ba yung tricycles? Kasi I often see a lot of tricycles na I can consider overloaded. Hindi sir yung nakatayo sa likod, but rather yung driver nakaupo na ron sa gasoline tank. Ang sakay sir ng parang 6 na eh. So, who is in charge of enforcing the law on this?
Actually, yes. TRB. Tapos actually, yung local ordinances kasi ito eh. So it's the local PNP, Municipal or City Police.
Yes, sir.
Nasa, ano. So they're the one. Kung HPG, sabi ko nga sa'yo, actually, ang mandate namin is carnapping, highway robbery, and carjacking.
Yes, sir.
We only support pag hiningi yung tulong namin ng LTO, LTFRB, DOTR. We will be there to support pag may mga laws, pertinent laws na pinapa-implement sa amin. But ito sa tricycle nga, pag humingi ng tulong sa amin yung local government, we will be there to implement. As of now, HPG, hindi kami nag-implement pa nito dahil sabi ko nga, doon kami sa carnapping, mas mataas na level yung aming mandate. Not unless humingi sila ng support sa amin.
Sir, personal question. If you see a rider who's in violation of what we are talking about, sinisita mo ba, sir, as a policeman?
Yeah, sinisita namin. At pinagsasabihan muna namin.
Yes, sir.
Pwede naman eh. Ano naman, actually pag tumayo yung HPG, masasabi ko sa'yo, mas disciplinado yung driver.
Yes, sir.
If I may add lang, Patrick, kasi yung regulation ng tricycle, depende sa bayan yung capacity. May tricycle na 4.3, may 4.4, may 4.5, may 4.6. Wala kasing standard design din, ano? Anyway,
Sir,
from
may I just answer? You talk on overloading, but on the side of LTO, if we also consider where the tricycle is operating, because tricycle is prohibited along national roads. We have that provision that no tricycle should traverse the national roads except in instances where there is no alternate road. So yun po. Una-una pong tinitignan namin pag sa LTO, saan ba yung tinatraverse niya. So if it is a national road, then first, that is the initial violation. Then pagka overload, we also consider that excess passenger. Another violation po.
Sir, regarding land po dun sa request ni Rider of the Philippines na motorcycle as public transport, kasi you mentioned earlier na we can para motorcycles are not designed for hire unless na I mean basta one passenger and one driver. Yung mga ginagawa ng mga TNC, sir, yung Grab, yung Auto, di ba sir, naka-registered sila as private vehicles, pero nabigyan sila ng special permit to allow passengers. So can we do the same for the motorcycles then?
Actually, it's been applied for by the motorcycle groups like Grab Bike and Angkas, no? Angkas, by the way, voluntarily surrendered operations. Tinigil nila yung operations. Not by an order from the LTO or order from LTFRB, but by order of the Makati City Government. Okay, so hindi po galing sa kanila yung order na tumigil sila eh. So they were operating with the provision of the law na through TNVS nga. The TNVS is not under LTO or PNP. It's under DOTR. So the application is with them actually. DOTR has the capacity to set in motion an order much like what they did with Grab and Uber. Pero right now, under study pa kasi dahil it is the job of the companies na nag-o-offer ng service to prove their worth. And that's what they're doing right now. Like we said, Grab Bike and Angkas, ang sinusunod nila, yung national law. One rider, one passenger. That's where we draw the line. We separate it from habal-habal. Kasi ang habal-habal walang limitation eh. Sa motor taxi, that's what we call it, there's a limitation, which is the law. So ang ina-apply nila is, masama sila dun sa TNVS. Yung motorcycle na kahit privately owned, basta applied through TNVS siya, dun siya papasok. Now, if that doesn't work, or DOTR does not want to put their hands on that issue, then saka tayo pupunta sa amendment of 4136 and LTO laws. And only Congress can do that. Right now, meron ng support. Actually, lagpas pa nga yung support na natatanggap eh. Kasi pati habal-habal gusto nila illegalize. Which kami, as a group, we are against. And I believe MDPPA is also against. Kasi ang sinusuportahan lang naman namin is one rider, one passenger, kasi yan lang ang allowed by the motorcycle design and yan lang ang allowed ng batas. So to us, it's just making it legal through changing one sentence in all of the laws. Yan yung hina-highlight ni Attorney Inton, former LTFRB board member. So if we can do it with Grab and Uber, we can also do it with the motorcycle, provided that the government set a regulation, a standard, and a stringent measure wherein naproprotektahan natin yung passenger. And which, by the way, for the information of our panel here, Angkas, when it was operating, passengers and riders are insured up to 250,000 pesos each. So merong insurance company na nag-cover. So that's one of the things that they are promoting para ma-eliminate natin yung fly-by-night, habal-habal, untrained, unprofessional, and people who have no regard for safety, unlike these companies. That's why we support them eh. Kasi they're setting a new standard that is not even existent in this country. And it will help, of course, LTO, it will help enforcement, PNP, and HPG. It will help them put a control on these irregularities. May application na? Oo. May application na, pinipilit ng Metro Manila Development Committee ng Congress na i-fast track yung application kasi ang reason nila for that is the people are suffering eh. We lose trillions of pesos in traffic. And if we can help move people, which by the way, ang report ho ng isang company is they move 300,000 people in a month. So that's almost at par with the LRT eh. So gusto nila tumulong. So the purpose is not just for the business, it's to help the commuters. But how do we help the commuters and consider their safety? Yes, it's always a question of safety. But who is safer? An untrained rider or a professional rider? So, in their operation, ang pinakita nila sa amin na number, which nakita naman ho namin, and based on reports, out of the million na na-serve nila dun sa months na nag-operate sila, their accident ratio is by 0.00004% and minor accident lang from one incident. And then, meron din sila isa pinagmamalaki. Ganito sila ka-strict. Out of 35,000 applicants, only 16,000 was approved. Or sila lang ang nagkaroon ng permit to operate. But again, they're not operating right now. As far as we are concerned, alam namin on hold ang kanilang operation.
Alright, medyo naubos yung 2 hours natin sa SPMJ forum, so we have to wind down itong forum natin, this second one. 2 hours is not enough para i-cover lahat ng issues sa motorcycle, what with almost 5 million users sa buong Pilipinas. But hopefully, we're able to tackle some issues, open up some eyes, and educate some people who are watching or listening to us this time. Pasalamatan natin ating mga bisita, ating resource person, si Chief Superintendent ng PNP Highway Patrol, si General Roberto Fajardo. Ang Director po ng LTO Law Enforcement, si Director Francis Ray Almora. At ang presidente po ng MDPPI, o Motorcycle Development Program Participants Association, Mr. Armando Reyes. And of course, ang ating main resource person, medyo marami siyang tinakal sa atin dito. Si Mr. Convener po ng Motorcycle Rights Organization, at na-mention niya kanina yung bagong Riders of the Philippines na last year lang nabuo, si Mr. Jobert Bolaños. So with that, hopefully magkakaroon pa tayo ng second part on about motorcycles, pero at this point, tinatapos natin ang ating forum for today. Maraming salamat po.